My name is Alan Nussbaumer, and I'm a Windows System Administrator. vRealize automation. A primary use case for the product is automating the basic rollout of a VM. We're not too complex, we're not a .com, but it does help us with smoothing out the variability of things. It makes it so we can deploy things very easily. Our experience with it has been very good. It's one of those things where if you don't have to think about a product, it just does its thing and it's in the background. We don't have to worry about it. That's always a handy feature. The most valuable features that we have, it's able to deploy several different operating systems. It's able to deploy whatever we want. We can take a template, spin it up, revise that, save it back off, and be able to have that for other departments, so that we can have one for our dev team and one for a research team that we have that has some specific requirements. We can keep track of them and deploy things automatically. It's also that the tool is usable for Windows and Linux and Mac. We have people with different requirements that access the tool. I'm in Windows, but we have a Linux group that also uses the tool, and some of the people in the networking department uses Macs. So it's very usable across different functional groups. We have found it to be intuitive and user-friendly. It's something that, because it has the workflows that are it's very easily graphed out, so you can kind of follow what it's doing. It's very picturesque. You can see what it's doing very easily. It's something that where you can hand it over to a user that is not as familiar with it, and they can wrap their brain around it pretty quickly. The networking group who doesn't access the finer features of VMware a lot, we give it to them. They want to deploy a tool, they can do it and they can see what it's doing very quickly. It's something that they don't have to understand, a scripting language or something to see what they're doing. We're not a fanciest organization, we're not .com, we don't use a lot of the higher end features of it, but the basic things that we do, we can just knock out on a daily basis. It's not a problem to use. The flexibility that's given us in being able to just deploy things very quickly and easily, taking it from having to build up an image and deploy something manually, which will take several hours or a day. We can do it in 20 minutes, just roll out a template very easily. If we want a half dozen different systems, we don't have to manually build them. We just 20 minutes each, bang, 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 done. That's it. This solution has been able to help us increase infrastructure build agility, mostly because of, in addition to being able to do its thing, it's on its own. It has tie-ins to other parts of our CI/CD pipeline. We use Jenkins for our build process, which of course has plugins to be able to integrate with that. We use Chef, which you can fire off. It does this thing, has the Chef build as part of that, as part of our image that we standardize deploy, and then that can tie in with our section of the pipeline that it does for applications. It has made it easier for IT to support developers, because it makes it so that we can stand up boxes a lot quicker. So you can have a test environment, we can just actually clone off something and make it a lot quicker and easier for them to deploy. Quicker deployments, quicker testing, quicker into production. Stability is good. It's one of those things we can just stand up and forget. We haven't really had any problems with it, so it's just there and we can rely on it. Scalability is one of those things we haven't used, we haven't needed, but it's there when we do. We understand that it's there when we do, so we're taking confidence in that. It will meet our needs when we need them. We haven't had to use tech support for the product. Part of that's that I like to read, and I kind of do my own support. We've had somebody help us in the initial deployment. I had a few questions. We had a VMware representative up there already. I asked them, and the support was good. Yeah, we've went all the way from version 5.5 to version 8. We just had to look, and VMware provided us the steps. We need to go from this version to this version to this version, and the progression that you need. And from there, it was very straightforward. Where I would see room for improvement is, honestly, not much. But for me, it's how do I take a new employee and be able to ramp it up so they could be productive quickly? How do we get the training materials so they kind of standardize and we can get them up and running really quickly? I would give it easily a 9. It's done everything that we need. We're not the most complex use case, but it's done everything we need. We can just forget about it in the background. I say 9 because, once again, the training stuff, just so we can have a nice flow of training for a new employee. I'm the old guy of the shop, and we are bringing on new people or new use cases. The user services department needs to start using it. How do we bring in new people to use its fleshed out features? The things that we have in addition to just us using it, but other departments using it. How do we bring those people in? That's the only thing that we really need.